Get ready, because the Lion's Gate isn't just another spiritual checkpoint to pass through with a crystal in your hand and a wish on your lips. It's not a gentle breeze that nudges you into a better vibration. This is an energetic wildfire, a cosmic reckoning, and this year, its frequency isn't waiting for permission to touch your life. It's already here, weaving through your thoughts, relationships, routines, and every false identity you've grown comfortable hiding behind. The 8-8 portal is not about indulgent spirituality or polished manifestation rituals. It's raw, real, and demanding. This is an activation point that brings truth to the surface with such clarity, you won't be able to pretend you didn't see it. Not anymore. People often associate this portal with abundance, power, and accelerated alignment. And while all of that is true, what's often left out is how it arrives, through disruption, confrontation, and undeniable transformation. The Lion's Gate is not something you can bypass by journaling more or thinking positively. It doesn't reward spiritual performance. It strips the layers that no longer resonate with your next chapter. And it does so unapologetically. If you've been sensing that time feels distorted lately, that your dreams are clearer but your daily life is messy, you're not imagining things. The shift is real. It's visceral. And it doesn't care if you feel ready. This portal doesn't ask you if you want to evolve. It commands your evolution. And if you've been praying for a breakthrough, understand this. Sometimes the breakthrough shows up as a breakdown. That unsettling moment when your plans unravel, when you lose motivation, when you question everything you thought was certain, those aren't detours. They're recalibrations. They're your soul breaking through the noise of your conditioning, forcing your ego to take a back seat. The universe isn't testing your strength. It's showing you what needs to leave so your strength can actually emerge. And that might look like ending relationships that feel familiar but stagnant. It might look like walking away from jobs that drain your spirit. Or it might mean finally acknowledging the part of you that has been quietly pleading for change while the rest of you clung to control. This Lion's Gate doesn't just open up new paths, it closes the ones that can no longer hold your growth. And sometimes, what feels like loss is actually liberation. Sometimes the silence you're sitting in is not emptiness, but space being made for something far more aligned. So if everything feels loud and quiet at the same time, if you feel pulled inward while your outer world collapses and rearranges, know that you are not malfunctioning. You are repatterning. You are detoxing from timelines and identities that have expired. And yes, it might feel lonely. Transformation often does. But solitude isn't absence, it's presence. It's where you hear your higher self without the interference of the external. And in these moments, under the intensity of this gateway, you begin to realize you're not meant to return to the version of you that could survive under outdated conditions. You're meant to rise into the one who thrives in full alignment. You'll find that the chaos becomes manageable, not because life gets easier, but because you get clearer, more anchored. You stop reacting out of fear and start choosing from a place of trust. You start recognizing which battles are truly yours to fight and which are simply distractions. You'll stop needing to prove yourself because you'll finally feel the embodiment of who you are becoming. The Lion's Gate isn't a one-day event. It's a frequency that you carry forward. And while not everyone will rise with it, those who do will notice the difference not just in their outer circumstances, but in how they feel in their own skin. In the softness that returns after years of being hardened by survival. In the fire that lights up again, not in anger, but in passion, purpose, and presence. Before we move ahead in the video, I want to let you know that if you've gained even a little value from my efforts, please consider donating through Super Thanks or via PayPal. It really helps motivate and inspire us to keep going. You're beginning to see things through a clearer lens, not just with your eyes, but with your entire being. You're feeling the weight and beauty of your experiences with more depth than ever before. Emotions still arise, but they don't own you anymore. They pass through like waves instead of floods. Where there was once inner chaos, there is now a quiet clarity forming. And the noise that used to knock you off balance, it's starting to fade into something distant, something less compelling. The spiral of overwhelm is no longer your default setting. Soon, even the emotional echoes of old patterns will fade, not because you've become numb, but because you've learned to witness instead of absorb. This isn't disconnection from life, it's freedom from the compulsive grip of unnecessary suffering. Real growth rarely announces itself with a loud, triumphant moment. Often, it creeps in softly, revealed in the small, sacred moments, like when you catch yourself smiling for no reason, not out of habit or performance, but because something inside you feels steady and at peace. You no longer need life to go your way in order to feel okay. You don't demand perfection or constant stimulation. There's a kind of grace and simplicity now, a gentleness with yourself. That's what healing actually feels like. Less drama, more presence. The illusions are dissolving. The masks you used to wear for acceptance, for peacekeeping, for being enough, they're heavy now. They don't feel like protection anymore. They feel like burden. And you're no longer interested in keeping them on. There's a deep exhale happening in your soul, a release of the exhausting need to be liked, validated, or understood. Not because you've stopped caring, but because you finally realized that your worth was never meant to be negotiated. The performance is over. You're not rebelling, you're remembering. You're not drifting, you're recalibrating. This realignment may look to others like withdrawal, disinterest, or defiance. Let it. You're not here to meet everyone's expectations. You're here to embody your truth. And part of that embodiment means not shrinking just to soothe someone else's discomfort. You're no longer shifting your shape to fit the room. You're learning to take up the space you were always meant to occupy, fully and unapologetically. That kind of authenticity can be jarring at first, for you and for others. When you stop people-pleasing, when you no longer explain your choices or dim your light to keep the peace, it will rattle some cages. That's okay. Not everyone will understand this version of you. They weren't meant to. What matters now is that you understand. That you feel the click of self-trust locking into place. The version of you that once begged for approval is dissolving into one who simply walks their path. You don't need to shout. You don't need to explain. You just need to be aligned. And in that alignment, you'll find peace that no applause could ever offer. The Lion's Gate portal isn't just an energetic opening. It's an initiation. And in 2025, it arrives with a voltage we haven't felt in decades. Forget the soft, romanticized language of manifestation trends. This year's portal is alive with force. It's charged, chaotic, and deeply cleansing. It doesn't wait for you to be comfortable. It doesn't knock before it enters. It shows up like a storm, and you either let it sweep through and strip away the inauthentic, or you try to resist and get stuck in the very loops you came here to transcend. July has already been a trigger point for many. The solar flares we've experienced weren't just random cosmic events. They've been igniting a nervous system upgrade, an emotional detox, a systemic clearing. If you felt drained, foggy, restless, or on edge, if you found yourself bouncing between fatigue and sudden waves of clarity or hyperfocus, you're not unstable, you're sinking. The cosmic energy is pushing old density out of your body, your mind, your field. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also precise. It's preparing you. This year's Lion's Gate isn't working in isolation. It's layered on top of months of inner and outer dismantling. Think of it as the ignition after a long season of excavation. You've been clearing space, consciously or not. Now something real is ready to rise. And while it won't always feel light and love, it will feel like truth, like power, like finally coming home to the most honest version of yourself. This portal doesn't ask for your readiness. It asks for your surrender. It asks if you're willing to let the old self go. Not in theory, but in practice. Can you stop clinging to what once felt like safety, but now feels like suffocation? Can you allow your old identity to dissolve, even when it terrifies you to not know what's next? Because what's waiting on the other side isn't a polished, perfected life. It's a liberated one. It's your soul unbound. It's peace that doesn't rely on control. It's presence that doesn't need a spotlight. It's the kind of abundance that comes not from grasping, but from knowing there is nothing missing. This is what the Lion's Gate is really offering. Not just a burst of energy, but a total energetic rewrite. A remembrance. An invitation to live from your core instead of your conditioning. Step through. Let yourself be undone. Not to fall apart, but to be reformed as something truer. Something freer. Something that no longer fits inside the boxes you used to build for yourself. Right now, your thoughts are no longer idle, passing clouds in the mental sky. They become instructions, energetic scripts being read and executed by the field around you with stunning immediacy. What was once an idea or fleeting emotion now materializes with speed and often with force. In this current portal, especially with a heightened charge of the 2025 Lion's Gate, your inner dialogue has become your loudest signal. Every intention you hold, every belief you entertain, and every emotion you sit with is being translated, reflected, and broadcast back into your experience. This isn't just metaphysics. This is energetic mechanics. The veil between thought and form is thinner than it has ever been. This makes the portal both extraordinarily potent and deeply sobering. If you're drifting through life unconsciously, on autopilot, recycling reactive thought patterns, speaking carelessly, or feeling resentful without reflection, you'll notice the fallout almost immediately. The universe isn't operating with a delay anymore. It's mirroring your vibration like a highly sensitive sensor. Every ounce of your frequency is magnified and mirrored back at you with precision. The moment you send it out through thoughts, words, emotions, or actions, it boomerangs right back, sometimes within minutes, sometimes instantly. It's why so many people are experiencing emotional whiplash right now. Things feel erratic, extreme, unpredictable. But it's not randomness, it's resonance. And for those who are even somewhat self-aware, the patterns are becoming impossible to ignore. This portal acts like a cosmic megaphone, not just echoing your thoughts and feelings, but amplifying them. If you carry clarity, it will open paths in record time. If you harbor confusion, it will tangle your reality until you're forced to confront it. It's not personal, it's principle. Energy moves according to what you are, not what you wish you were. This is where the Lion's Gate portal shifts from being an esoteric concept to a direct, living force in your life. It's not here to entertain your ego's fantasy about what could be. It's here to spotlight what already is. If you're wondering why certain doors are closing, why situations are collapsing, why truths are erupting seemingly out of nowhere, look no further than your own energetic output. This is a feedback system. It's honest. It's relentless. And it's offering a profound opportunity if you're willing to truly look. But this isn't a threat. This is an invitation to co-create with consciousness. The same force that exposes falsehoods will reward truth. The same energy that dismantles your illusions will elevate your intentions. When those intentions come from clarity, authenticity, and alignment, the 2025 portal isn't passive. It's responsive. It's not floating in some fifth-dimensional ether. It's alive in your choices, your voice, your breath. It hears everything you're not saying, and it sees everything you're trying to hide, even from yourself. And so the question has changed. It's no longer, what can I manifest? But what am I already manifesting unconsciously daily through my inner world? That shift in awareness alone changes everything. Because if you've been carrying self-doubt, fear, resentment, or unresolved trauma as part of your vibrational baseline, the portal is going to make it visible. Not as punishment, but as illumination. You can't shift what you can't see. And the Lion's Gate is not interested in your comfort. It's interested in your liberation. That discomfort you've been feeling, that inner tension, that strange mix of empowerment and disorientation, it's part of the process. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. That sudden loss of interest in justifying yourself, explaining your healing, or translating your truth for people who still don't understand themselves, that's not emotional detachment. That's soul maturity. You're outgrowing the need to be digested by others before you can feel real. You're no longer seeking to fit into places that require you to dilute your truth just to stay. And yes, it can feel jarring at first. The letting go of people, habits, or environments that once made you feel safe, even if they were quietly harming you, it creates a void. But don't mistake the void for emptiness. It's space. Space you've never allowed yourself to occupy before. Space to hear your own frequency without interference. And in this portal, that's not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Because if you keep leaking energy to be understood, approved of, or applauded, you won't have the power to receive what this gateway is actually offering. The Lion's Gate isn't just here to open your path, it's here to seal old exits. The ones you used to escape accountability. The ones you took when discomfort showed up. The ones that let you retreat into smaller versions of yourself when things got too intense. Those exits are being boarded up. Not as punishment, but as alignment. You're being anchored into your truth, even if your ego isn't on board yet. And part of that anchoring means letting go of the need to be seen by those who still don't see themselves. There is a divine intelligence behind all of this. You're not losing touch, you're regaining inner authority. You're not becoming hard, you're becoming sovereign. And from that place of sovereignty, manifestation is no longer about creating a curated life. It's about living in resonance. It's about embodying your essence so fully that life responds to you without negotiation. That's the gift of this portal. And that's the responsibility that comes with it. So if your thoughts feel louder, if your energy feels more exposed, if your reality feels more volatile, it's not your imagination. You are in a direct dialogue with the universe now. It's not theoretical. It's happening. In every moment you choose awareness over reaction, alignment over validation, clarity over comfort, you strengthen the signal you're sending. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be conscious. The rest will meet you halfway. Because in this portal, intention is architecture. And truth is the frequency that unlocks everything. This quiet that's beginning to form around your life isn't a void to be feared. It's a sacred pause, a womb of transformation. It's not the silence of abandonment or failure. It's the sound of everything you've outgrown falling away in preparation for what's next. You're not retreating because you're broken or confused. You're withdrawing because you're being recalibrated. You're shedding layers that were only ever meant to carry you this far, not a step further. And the deeper truth is your soul knows it. Even if your mind doesn't fully understand, your inner world has already begun the work of realignment. This silence isn't hollow. It's full of intelligence. It's brimming with messages you can only hear when the distractions stop. You're being pulled back, not to shrink, but to center. You're not drifting aimlessly. You're being drawn inward to receive something that can't be delivered in noise, chaos, or company. It's a kind of spiritual focusing, and while it may feel disorienting, it's sacred in its precision. The actions you once took to prove your worth, assert your truth, or maintain appearances no longer hold the same power. That urge to explain yourself? It's dissolving. The old narrative that said you must justify your choices to keep peace or win favor is being rewritten. Now, instead of talking about boundaries, you're living them. Instead of debating your beliefs, you're embodying them. You've stopped needing to be convincing because you've finally become convicted. That's what real confidence feels like. Not volume, not visibility, but a quiet, unwavering presence that doesn't flinch under scrutiny. You may notice people around you pulling away, or worse, projecting. They might label you distant, cold, even arrogant. They might not understand the shift you're undergoing. But their discomfort has nothing to do with your authenticity. It simply reflects their resistance to change. You're not rising above anyone. You're stepping into alignment. And those who are still waiting for outside permission to evolve will often resent those who stop asking for it. This inner stillness, the detachment, the strange quiet in conversations, in friendships, even in your own thoughts, it's not emptiness. It's energetic sovereignty. The stillness you're feeling is the moment before expansion, the energetic inhale before a life-altering exhale. It's the thickening of the cocoon. Everything around you might feel slow, muted, like you're wrapped in something invisible. That's not stagnation. It's sacred suspension. And just like the caterpillar must completely dissolve into formlessness before it becomes the butterfly, you too are in a state of energetic reformation. You're not breaking. You're melting into your next form, but it's no surprise if lately your attention keeps drifting. You might catch yourself staring into space, feeling like you're not quite here, not quite there. It feels like floating, disconnected from the life you've built but not yet plugged into the next chapter. This liminal space can be terrifying if you don't understand it. But it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of transformation. Your body, your mind, your entire energetic system is between frequencies, between identities, between timelines. This is the space between death and rebirth. Not a literal death, but the death of everything within you that no longer resonates with where you're going. Your old motivations, fading. Old joys, feeling distant. Even your inner voice may sound quieter now, not because it's gone, but because something deeper is preparing to speak in its place. What you're feeling isn't depression, it's energetic rewiring. A psychic molding. An upgrade that requires your full presence, but not your full understanding. And this is where the Lion's Gate takes on its full spiritual meaning. This isn't just a portal of abundance or wish-making. In 2025, it's a total frequency shift, a multidimensional invitation to detach from the timelines, roles, and energies that are no longer congruent with your becoming. It's not subtle. It doesn't come in with a whisper. It descends with clarity, with force, and with non-negotiable precision. If you feel emotionally distant or strangely uninvolved in your old life, it's because your soul is undergoing a quiet, powerful restructuring. You're not becoming indifferent. You're becoming discerning. What once felt urgent no longer compels you. What once entertained you now irritates you. Even relationships you once clung to for comfort now feel energetically heavy. This isn't you becoming cold, it's It's you conserving your energy. You're no longer willing to spend your essence on things that don't contribute to your alignment. And even though this phase can feel lonely, even harsh, it's divinely timed. You are being set apart, not separated. Set apart to grow. Set apart to remember. Set apart so the noise can die down long enough for your higher self to deliver the next set of instructions. It's not a punishment. It's a sacred quarantine of the soul. You probably noticed that even the small talk grates on your nervous system. Conversations that once felt fine now feel forced. The energy of distraction has become too expensive. You're not just bored, you're energetically incompatible with anything unrooted in truth. That's the portal working through you. That's the frequency shift creating an inner refinement. You can no longer pretend. You can no longer shrink. And even if no one around you understands the process, it doesn't matter, because this is not a performance. This is a becoming. The silence you're in now may feel like a test. And in a way, it is. But not a test of worth, a test of endurance. Can you sit with the unknown long enough to allow it to become sacred? Can you stay in this liminal space without running back to what's familiar just to avoid discomfort? Because the next version of you, the one being carved out by this lion's gate, is too expansive to emerge through noise, chaos, or compromise. It needs space. It needs silence. It needs you to be still long enough to feel it arrive. So breathe here. Settle into the discomfort of not knowing. Let the silence envelop you, not as an absence, but as a presence. A sacred womb. A holy pause. This is not a detour. It's part of the path. You are not falling behind. You are being prepared. And when you emerge, and you'll carry the kind of truth that doesn't need to be explained. A frequency that speaks for itself. A presence that doesn't chase attention because it no longer doubts its own power. If you can hold steady, if you can resist the urge to run back to the version of you that the world recognized, applauded, or depended on, what's waiting on the other side of this portal isn't just a brighter chapter. It's a full, cellular rewrite of your life. A dismantling of every false self you've ever had to wear, and a return to the essence of who you were before the world told you who to be. You're not entering a new season. You're stepping into an entirely new timeline. And that shift, while liberating, can also be deeply unsettling, because it requires everything false to be stripped away. You may have already noticed it. That strange sensation, like your reflection, is no longer a perfect match for who you feel yourself becoming. You look in the mirror and see a flicker of someone unfamiliar, but not foreign. It's a deeper version of you, more real than the role you've been performing, more whole than the persona you built to survive. That person in the mirror isn't new. They've been with you all along, waiting for the noise to die down so they could finally emerge. This isn't confusion, it's reintegration. Your identity, once structured around being needed, being agreeable, being admired, is being dismantled. The parts of you shaped by social reward, by emotional obligation, by fear of being too much or not enough, are crumbling. You might feel like you're floating sideways through life right now, not falling apart, but slipping out of alignment with everything that no longer resonates. That's not instability. That's course correction. The masks you wore for protection, for praise, for connection are disintegrating. Not because you failed at wearing them, but because you succeeded long enough to realize they were never you to begin with. If you've been the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the achiever, the performer, the overgiver, you're likely feeling exhausted, unmotivated, even disconnected. You might wake up feeling like a blank slate, unsure what excites you anymore or what path you're supposed to take next. That's not regression. That's your soul pausing the program so you can remember what it feels like to choose for yourself. This process isn't gentle. The Lion's Gate in 2025 isn't here to wrap you in spiritual niceties or give you softly lit breakthroughs. It's here with surgical precision. It comes to dismantle, to expose, to burn away everything artificial. Not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. Anything built from defense, trauma, or emotional labor will begin to collapse, because those structures can't support the weight of who you're becoming. You can't rise in someone else's costume. You can't evolve inside the container that once kept you small. The destabilization you're feeling is your soul pushing you into truth. And the truth doesn't arrive as a gentle whisper right now. It's roaring. The more you resist it, the louder it gets. Not to punish you, but to wake you. You're not being tested in the way you've been taught to believe. You're being revealed to yourself. Expect to feel out of place in rooms that once felt familiar. Expect your interests to shift, your rhythms to change, your desires to surprise you. The conversations that once thrilled you might feel hollow. The relationships that once grounded you may now feel limiting. You're not abandoning them, you're evolving beyond them. And this portal is speeding up that process by clearing out anything that's not a match for your next chapter. You might even feel emotionally unanchored. One day, driven and clear, the next day, numb or lost. That's normal when the roles you once played no longer hold meaning. You've been scripted by survival, and now your soul is ready to improvise. That emotional whiplash is your system recalibrating. There's no timeline for this process, no linear path. It happens in cycles, each layer peeling back more of your essence, more of your truth, and this time you won't be able to pretend. Not even a little. The Lion's Gate is a scanner. It's not impressed by performance. It doesn't care what image you present. It doesn't bow to curated personas or carefully constructed spiritual branding. It sees what's real. It detects what's buried beneath the surface, the grief you've tucked away, the rage you've masked with politeness, the fear disguised as ambition, the longing you've swallowed to keep the peace. All of it is coming up not to shame you, but to free you. This energy doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be honest. Not with the world, but with yourself. Can you admit where you've abandoned yourself to belong? Can you admit where you've overextended to feel useful? Can you admit where you've been hiding, not just from others, but from your own light? That's the threshold this portal offers. Not a doorway to some dream life that exists if you just manifest hard enough, but an invitation to return to your original frequency. The one before the conditioning, the expectations, the betrayals. The one before the roles you were praised for became cages. The one before your heart had to learn how to survive instead of thrive. And once you pass through that threshold, life won't be the same. Not because it suddenly becomes easy or perfect, but because it finally becomes real. You begin to choose what aligns, instead of what pleases. You speak from truth, not strategy. You move with inner certainty, not external validation. And that kind of authenticity is magnetic, not because it tries to attract, but because it simply is. Sudden waves of anxiety that sweep over you in places that once offered comfort can be deeply disorienting. That unexpected tightness in your chest, the restless swirl of thoughts that seem to have no clear origin, and those ancient fears rising from shadows you thought you had long left behind. All of this might leave you questioning your own stability. Even when everything in your life appears stable, peaceful, or even successful, you might find yourself gripped by a creeping dread, a fear so primal and unfathomable it shakes you to your core. Solitude, once your sanctuary, may suddenly feel suffocating, and the comfort of silence can transform into an eerie void. For some, even those who feel grounded or accomplished, the fear of death or losing control looms larger than ever, like a shadow stretching across the brightest moments of their days. These experiences might feel irrational or inexplicable, but that's precisely the point. This is the energy at work beneath the surface. You're not regressing or falling into darkness. What's happening is a profound clearing out, a deep energetic purge that, while uncomfortable, is necessary for your next evolution. These sensations, these sudden emotional tempests, are not indicators that something is wrong with you. Rather, they are vital signals that the universe, through the portal of the Lion's Gate, is actively working to flush out the hidden fears and wounds you have long carried silently. The fears you accepted as normal, the pain you quietly endured or brushed aside, the emotional shards you sidestepped instead of confronting and healing, all of these fractured pieces of your energy field are being illuminated now. This exposure isn't meant to break you. It's meant to liberate you. You cannot move forward while still clutching onto illusions or outdated beliefs, nor can you build something new while pretending that the pain buried deep inside doesn't exist. This is not a punishment. It's a sacred invitation to stop hiding from yourself, from your truth, and from the parts of your soul that are longing to be healed and seen. So if you've been feeling off, hypersensitive, or haunted by thoughts that seem alien to you, know this: you are not falling apart. You are simply shedding the layers of your mask. Allow it to come off. Let it fall. There is a subtle, often unnoticed shift happening within you, not necessarily in your external circumstances, but in the way you engage with and respond to the world around you. You might find yourself completing a small task and actually feeling a moment of peace or satisfaction instead of rushing on to the next thing. Maybe a quiet moment lingers a little longer in your chest, not because it's extraordinary, but because your inner landscape has changed enough to notice it. You're not forcing gratitude or trying to practice mindfulness as a chore. Instead, A gentle, organic sense of contentment is beginning to surface where previously there was indifference or numbness. This shift in how you perceive and receive your own life is one of the clearest signs that your energy is aligning with the current of the Lion's Gate. This portal doesn't merely open the gates for future possibility, it actively upgrades how you live in the present moment. That flicker of joy you experience in something simple, the quiet wonder in an ordinary scene, is not a coincidence. It's your nervous system recalibrating, your heart waking up, your energy field syncing with a higher frequency. Even if your mind is still tangled in doubt or distraction, your soul is already tuning into the shift. This matters because transformation isn't about forcing change. It's about flowing with the natural evolution of who you're becoming, the version of yourself that the future is summoning forward. If you're noticing these small but steady shifts unfolding in the background of your everyday life, honor them. They are the subtle signals that the transformation has begun. You are already preparing for the new life that awaits you. And as the portal reaches its apex on August 8th, it won't need to push or prod you. It will simply amplify and accelerate the changes you've already started to embody. This is not just another season or phase. It's a precious window of time, a rare opportunity for profound growth that demands your presence and openness. The Lion's Gate doesn't ease in gently like a whisper on the breeze. It bursts through the veil with intensity, offering a brief but powerful passage to a higher state of consciousness and being. This opening is already here now, and it won't remain accessible indefinitely. To miss it would be to miss the chance to step more fully into your potential, to rewrite your story with the courage and clarity that this moment uniquely supports. Right now, the energy surrounding you is not just rising, it's swelling with an urgency that's almost impossible to ignore. It pounds like a relentless drumbeat inside your chest, calling your soul to awaken, to move, to evolve. This isn't a gentle whisper or a subtle hint. It's a powerful, insistent tide that sweeps through your being, tugging you forward whether you feel ready or not. The energy feels vast, like the roar of the ocean before a storm, and it demands your attention. But just like any tide, this peak won't last forever. It's a crescendo, a high point in a cycle that will crest and inevitably begin to recede. After August 8th, while the frequency of this powerful portal won't vanish completely, your direct access to its intense momentum will start to diminish. The wave will break. And if you hesitate too long, it will wash away before you've had the chance to dive in and ride its strength. Far too often, people wait. They tell themselves they'll shift when they feel more prepared, when circumstances become easier, or when life slows down enough to allow change. But this moment is not designed to accommodate hesitation or perfect timing. The portal doesn't reshape itself to fit your comfort zone or wait patiently for your readiness. It comes rushing through with unstoppable momentum, sweeping aside doubts and distractions. If you don't move with it, that surge of clarity will begin to fade, your drive will blunt, and the powerful energy you once felt will scatter like leaves in the wind. This isn't just another opportunity. It's a rare window, a narrow gateway that opens only briefly before closing again. These windows don't linger long enough to indulge indecision or procrastination. If you feel that internal pull, the subtle but persistent nudge in your heart, that's your true alignment calling. It's the universe signaling that now is your moment. Follow that pull. Don't wait for certainty, or for every piece of the puzzle to fall perfectly into place. Move, even if it feels uncertain or incomplete. Because when you do, you'll find that the next version of yourself rises naturally to meet the momentum, stronger and more aligned than before. When this portal closes, the crystal clear certainty you might have experienced in recent days will start to dissolve. The sharpness of your vision will blur, and your once steady direction may feel unsteady and vague. The fire that pushed you to act, speak your truth, or make significant changes may begin to flicker, and eventually, that flame might extinguish entirely. You may find yourself trying to recapture that clarity later, trying to spark the same motivation, but it won't be quite the same. The energy will have shifted, moved on, leaving behind only echoes of what once was. This moment is not about pressure or forcing outcomes. It's about presence and courage. It's about stepping fully into what is happening now, with an open heart and willingness to move forward. Right now, your magnetism is at its peak. The power of your thoughts is amplified. What you say, what you intend, and what you choose to claim during this window carries enormous weight. But the magic only sticks if you act while the portal is still active, alive, and pulsing with potential. If you felt an urge to make a change, to voice a truth you've held inside, to walk away from something that no longer serves, or to begin something new and unfamiliar, that pull isn't a coincidence. It's not a fleeting whim or passing fancy. It's alignment knocking firmly at your door, inviting you to step through. However, alignment without action is a fragile thing. Without movement, it dissolves into a shadow of what could have been, leaving behind a lingering trail of what-ifs and quiet regret. This is not a time for drifting or endless rumination. This is a moment for a decisive response. You don't need a perfect plan mapped out, and you don't need to see every step on the path ahead. What you need is a single, honest moment of courage. Right now, in this exact moment, the portal doesn't reward perfection or grand gestures. It honors the willingness of those who dare to move, even when the way forward isn't fully illuminated. It favors the brave souls who trust the unknown enough to step into it anyway. This window is brief, but the choice you make within it can send ripples through your life for years to come. If you are still here, still feeling this pull, still listening, know that you haven't missed your chance yet. The gate is still open, but it won't be for long. If this message resonates with you, I want to sincerely thank you for being present, for tuning in, and for allowing yourself to receive these words. Your openness matters. If you found value in this message and want to explore more moments like this, please consider subscribing. I'd be honored to walk alongside you through these transformative times. And if something here stirred something within you, please don't hesitate to share what you're moving through. I'd love to hear your story and connect with you. Until we meet again, take care of yourself deeply, and remember this: the moment to step into your power is now. The portal is open. The tide is rising. Will you swim?